My challenge this time is talking through this frenetic chapter with a bad cold, so bear with me. Another interesting mission coming up here. We're back to base building, but with a new twist. Plus, we finally have our three main characters together, and they meet the villain in person for the first time. Unfortunately, this cinematic only does an okay job developing the characters, but some of the poses are well done.
This isn't... Chiron, have you gotten us lost?
Of course not. I've walked this road many times. I've never seen this before, however.
It's recent construction. The cuts on the stones are not weathered.
Good line.
It doesn't look like something your average bandit would build.
Where are the men from Ioklos?
Within, perhaps.
Let's find out.
This is a fun and tricky mission, but I found a very smart way to do it.
Scout the area and find what resources are available here.
Let's split up. We can cover more ground with our blood that way. So we're going to have two bases on this mission. We have our Arcantis and Chiron over here in the east with their town. And I'll need to send these villagers to work immediately. Over here into the darkness. Since that's where the biggest concentration of trees is, there's a relic here. And here in the west we have Ajax's town. 2 town centers means villagers train twice as fast. A good number of starting villagers too, but we're still going to have resource problems for a different reason. Over here, as Arcantis will soon say, we have plenty of wood and a temple for favor, but nothing else. Mysteriously, the storehouse hotkey is M. In Ajax's zone, instead we have food with these goats and bushes and gold, but we have no wood. That's the main challenge. Ajax in group 3 for micro. Chiron has found my random relic. That's actually really useful. I'm going to be using a lot of archers this mission, so I lucked out there. Micro time. Get these guys running back. Ajax was in his own group so that he can intercept them easily. Try to take no casualties here. Better not let that Minotaur near my human soldiers. If I'm lucky, Ajax can aggro it. Okay, it's going for my humans, but I got a bunch of free hits on it. It's mindlessly chasing one of my hypacifists, so with micro I can get free shots with my archers on it. Plus bog it down for a few seconds while Ajax continues to attack it from behind. And there we go. Not a scratch on me. Meanwhile, good micro is critical on this mission in case you couldn't tell, because I have 2 bases and 2 armies to manage in separate places. I had to focus 100% on Ajax for a couple of seconds there, so I'm behind on attacking this gate. Even with the delay though, Arcantis' group will break through much faster than Ajax's. Partly because they may keep getting attacked like this. You never know by how many guys, it's unpredictable and as far as I can tell random. A bit of post-commentary here. I didn't see that misclick there, which really screwed me up a lot in this skirmish. I misclicked with Ajax too. The problem is that walls have a gigantic hitbox compared to their shape. By the way, you can't go through gates when they're open for the enemy. As I was saying, Ajax's group will be slow getting through this wall because all he has are hypacifists, which have terrible base damage. Even Zeus's doubling versus buildings can't fix that. That's enough guys on wood for the time being, but I could use more farmers. And of course I'll need an armory because I want to age up quickly to get catapults. And 2 houses. Which brings me to the maximum 10 actually. You start off with 8 between these 2 towns. Alright, gate is down, I can slip along here so I don't aggro the troops hidden up there. This gate is almost down. But they can't move forward until Arcantis' group takes care of something anyway. Let's talk about Chiron now. Mechanically, Chiron is a somewhat interesting unit. He's a centaur, so he's fast moving and has range, but his attack is fairly weak for a hero, and so are his hit points. The game says his special is a triple shot. They don't say each shot deals an insane 62 damage. It misses moving targets, though. Lured them away from the fort. Now, I can't unite my armies in this mission because there are cliffs in the way. The only path through is full of so many walls and fortresses that it's not worth the trouble. The armies still need to work together. This fortress overlooks Ajax's path, so if I don't take it out with these guys, I can snipe him for free. So Chiron, whose super shot has a 15-second cooldown by the way, tanks while the other troops get into position. Ajax will do something similar over here where there's a tower hidden in the fog. For ease of micro, I'll just have him attack this barracks while my troops slip into position. Maneuver inside the minimum range. Now Chiron can get into safety too, and so can Ajax over here. And there we go, everybody's safely attacking these buildings now, with no fire coming at us. These guys have finished the bushes, it's time to split them up. I'll grab about 7, no that's too many. I want to reach 500 gold and 800 food at about the same time to age up efficiently. And there's no reason to save the goats longer since I won't need much more food after this. And I've got enough villagers on the east side for now, so I'll cancel training them until I can age up. Once again, the enemy is playing as Poseidon, so when they're building side, I get these free militia units. A nuisance, but something one has to watch out for. Alright, there, I took 0 casualties, I believe. I'll wait here another few seconds so my archers can help out with the next barracks' militia. Ajax can now make easier progress for a while. I'll send these guys back home. Odd but critical point here. I'm going to advance up Ajax's side because it's easier, but build my archery ranges over here instead. That will ultimately let me get troops to the front faster, and means I don't need to slow down aging up, which is the main delay here. I can't win till I can build catapults. I'm trying to win as quickly as possible this time. I'll finish talking about Chiron while I stockpile. His super shot deals quadruple damage versus myth units, but his regular attacks actually deal 11x. Arcantus and Ajax only get times 7. Definitely should pick Apollo here. Underworld Passage is by far the most efficient way to unite your bases and get troops to the front line fast. Time to shift people from food to gold. 2 mines to decrease blocking and drop-off time. I'm going to build a wall here so I can stop defending this base and get all my troops over to help Ajax instead. I could really use these heroes and hoplites over there for tanking purposes. Need to guard the wall while it's being built. Meanwhile over here I don't need these guys gathering from their cruddy farms anymore, so I'll have them get to lumber. As usual, 1 archery range would not be nearly enough to train troops and thus win quickly. Ajax's crew can keep forging ahead in safety now. The idea is to clear out all the minor obstacles with their starting troops so that there's no delay between aging up and the final battles. Speaking of which, the archery ranges should finish at exactly the right time. Archers are the way to go here, because the enemy relies upon scattered squads of infantry. I just need to pick those up while my Petrovali wreck the buildings. I do still want about 5 guys on food so I can get some important upgrades. 1 guy in favor too, for the same reason. Okay, you guys will be needed in 1 second here. Darn, an attack at a busy time. I can't pull back to my tower and town center like I'd like to because the wall is still being built. My Peltas should be able to wreck these archers though. The Greek counter unit's only good against archers, against which they do quadruple damage. Trash against everything else, and thus not that useful normally, like most Greek counter units. Historical Peltas were Greek skirmishers with javelins. The ancient Greeks had almost 0 archers, so these guys should be the generic ranged unit, really. Also, real Peltas harassed the infantry, not the archers, and were quick instead of uselessly slow. Underworld Passage there. And other side there. That will save me a long commute. To save even more time, I have a bunch of villagers ready to jump through that passage and build fortresses on that side so that the Petrovali will be right where they're needed. Just need a gate so Arcantus can get back into town. I can do some gold upgrades now. It's the right time since I no longer need food but do need more gold. I already have a bunch of archers, so it's good to do the archery upgrades now too. The timing of that attack slowed me down a fair amount. Unfortunately, this mission is very unpredictable about where the enemies will attack and when. Time to throw down a fortress as fast as I can. I took heavy casualties, so the army was twice my size and better upgraded, but my strategy of tanking for the Peltas while they focused down the archers worked out in the end. So here's the last lull before the final battle really begins. Gotta do upgrades, get people gathered up all together, send them through the portals, get the portal to rally point to the right spot, and then move forward together. I found that about 3 archery ranges was the right number to continuously train Toxotes while still allowing population room for my fortresses to produce catapults before we hit the cap. It's a deal to have all this kinds of stuff straightened out before you begin the big distracting attack. So I'll send these guys up here to the berry bushes, which are the last food source on the map. Both Toxotes and Petrovali cost a lot of lumber, so I can't have too many guys on that for this strategy. I'm going to try new recording software soon, which will hopefully prevent this problem where I can't select anything with double click. Build another fort, mostly so I can do draft horses without stopping Petrovali production from the other one. If you didn't face as big an attack as I did, and therefore didn't lose as many troops, you may want to hold off on training this many archers so they can build your catapults faster. Similarly, if you feel like pushing your luck, you can have Ajax move ahead here before Arcantus arrives and take out this 1 barracks that'll be up ahead. But sometimes the enemy attacks with a gigantic force while you try to do that, so it can be more trouble than it's worth. It is a major nuisance that there's no hotkey for this auto-train feature. That would save a lot of time and a lot of clicking. Everything should proceed smoothly now. Alright, take down this isolated barracks easily enough. Most importantly, make sure my reinforcements keep coming to the new front line as it moves. I'm going to need more lumber imminently, so we'll send these guys back through the passage to go back to their first town and harvest that. It's good to be consistent about your group hotkeys so you can keep track of them. I always use 8 for my fortresses. Might as well build a new storehouse for harvesting efficiency as these guys go back to work. And then I'll get grouped up and move on to the heart of the enemy town at last. The enemy uses mainly high pacifists here, which deal quadruple damage versus infantry and thus will butcher any surviving hoplites. No threat to archers though, just another case of counter units being ineffective. To win the mission, I need to destroy the 2 fortresses near the pits. That one and that one, so there's more enemy opposition in the way. I think they kept the objective simple because the double base was so complex. I definitely give the campaign credit for throwing different mixes of units at you every mission, like all the high pacifists here. Chiron, attack that Minotaur with your silly X11 damage. Oh, there's Atalanta. They even use a hero for once in this mission. She's a fast, powerful hero only Poseidon can get. I'm really hoping to get the draft horses upgrade fairly soon to speed these guys up. That's why I built the second fortress in the first place. Oh, these guys decided to block each other and thus stopped harvesting. Anyway, I took some heavy casualties, but that's to be expected because that's the last big battle of the mission. For now on, it's just mop up, need to pick off militias as they spawn. That's the fight that can happen prematurely if you try to get greedy with Ajax alone though. Not always, but often enough to not be worth the risk. What I'm trying to show you here is the fastest, most streamlined strategy that will definitely win. There are some quicker ones which are extremely luck-based. Always keep your archers and so forth in front of your Petropoli. The enemy loves to target your siege weapons, which will slow you down substantially. In a funny way, that almost makes your Petropoli tanks. They distract fire from the archers, they just do so from behind. Sometimes, but not all the time, they'll have a single Cyclops guarding their temple, which is strange since they can't build any. Some of the towers need to die, but the enemy barracks really don't. And remember, micro is nice, but oh, draft horse is coming up. Right, micro is nice, but it's much more important to manage your base well while the battle goes on. I've always thought that was an interesting quirk of our language, that from two different roots we got two homophone raises that lead to bizarre sounding sentences like, raise it to the ground. We were lucky the early Brits were so bad at keeping invaders out. It can actually save you a second or two to go for the second fortress first. Less chance of your archers blocking from getting into position, basically. To avoid some potential spoilers, I didn't show you the stuff in the pit the fort's guard. The men from Ioclos are there digging something up. Well, supposedly. Actually, if you speed things up, it turns out they're building giant piles of dirt and will eventually wall the thing in rather than expose it. I guess there's no need to come and stop them in the first place. My pacifists don't even have the damage to take down catapults. Just gotta keep focusing and picking them off one by one. Nothing to it at this point. And now you can see why I built these fortresses there. It blocks this potential nuisance attack on my reinforcement lines. Alright, just need to tear down the closer fort and I win. This ended up being a pretty fast time. My best was about 10 minutes even during practice, but everything just went perfect that time. I did a sweet job with the opening this time, and that made all the difference really. 0 casualties for all the early stuff too. And there we go. Fun, micro-intensive mission with a labyrinthine map. There's nothing too special going on at the end, but the beginning definitely encourages interesting stunts and cool tactics. I had fun figuring out the smartest possible approach to it. Now here comes an excellent ending cinematic.
They rush in red and purple, from the red clouds of the morn, from the temples where the yellow gods shut up their eyes in scorn.
Another Lepanto quote.
I will warn you, this once.
Enough babbling, coward. Come face me. Atlantis does not fear the likes of you.
It should. I have warned you. Continue to pursue me, and I will spare neither you, nor your city, nor your son.
Cool stuff except that landing. And that's the mission. I hope you all enjoyed that. I certainly did. Have a great day, everyone.